Hi everyone, welcome back to a new lesson with me today. My name is Jenny and I'm a British English teacher. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you 14 idioms that are all connected to colours. If you like learning idioms, stick around and let's take a look at our first idiom. Number one is out of the blue, and this means unexpectedly. For example, I was shocked when he called me out of the blue. So in this example, I was not expecting any call from him or perhaps anybody else, but then completely unexpectedly, maybe after not speaking for 5 years, he called me. Number two is with flying colours. It's important to note with this idiom that we usually use it with the verb to pass, and it means to do something, to pass something very easily and very successfully. For example, he had been studying so hard that it came as no surprise when he passed his exams with flying colours. Number three means until you are blue in the face. This means that you are wasting your time doing something because you will not achieve anything in the end. So if you think about when we go blue in the face, we are out of breath, we are exasperated. So this means until you are exasperated. For example, after I had explained the situation to the manager until I was blue in the face and I realised I was not going to get anywhere, I decided that I had to put in a formal complaint. 4 is to catch somebody red-handed, and this means to catch somebody doing something bad or illegal. For example, the shop assistant caught the thieves red-handed. Number 5 is as white as a sheet, and this means to be very pale, usually because of illness, shock or fear. You look like you've seen a ghost. You're as white as a sheet. Number 6 is a financial term, a financial expression, and it is to be in the black. And this means to have money in the bank or to be in profit. For example, we finished the fiscal year in the black due to record sales. And then the opposite of in the black is in the red. And so when you are in the red, you owe money, usually to the bank. For example, we need to cut back on some expenses as we are in the red again this month. To cut back on is a phrasal verb that means to reduce. We need to reduce our expenses. The next idiom is once in a blue moon, and this means not very often. For example, they only see their family once in a blue moon because they live so far away. So once in a blue moon here simply means not very often. They don't see their family very often because they live so far away. Number 9 is green with envy, and this is to wish that you had what somebody else had, but often in a very obvious way. So it's clear for all to see how envious you are or how jealous you are of what somebody else has. For example, when he saw that his neighbour had bought a new Ferrari, he was green with envy. 10 is to see somebody's true colours, or we can use an alternative form of this idiom, which is to show somebody your true colours. And this means for people to be able to see your true character, often the negative side of your character. She really showed her true colours when we went away on holiday together. So you know when you go on holiday with somebody or when you live with somebody and you spend more time with them, you tend to see the other parts of their character, not only the good parts, but also the negative parts as well. So it's difficult to go on holiday with somebody or to spend a lot of time with somebody without showing your true colours. Number 11 is to be tickled pink, and this means to be very happy. For example, they were tickled pink to be invited to the ceremony. I have to say this one isn't the most modern or the most common idiom, but it's a nice one and we haven't had another idiom that uses pink. Shifting from pink to red, we now have to see red, and this one means to become angry. So for some people, when they get angry, they describe a red mist that comes down and they can't see anything but red. They can't control their anger. For example, He started to see red when he realized that the work still hadn't been finished. So maybe he was really expecting that the work should have been done by this point, and when it hadn't been done, he really got quite angry. I think number 13 is possibly my favourite idiom of all of the idioms that we're looking at today, and it is, the grass is always greener on the other side. And this means that other people may seem to have things better than you, although it's probably not true. So when we look into our neighbour's garden, maybe their grass looks greener than ours, but it's all about perspective. And when you get in the garden, it's probably not true. Their grass is probably just as green as your grass. So it's important to remember what you have and not to focus on what others have or what others seem to have. For example, she thought the grass was greener on the other side, but she later regretted leaving her old job. So in this example, she thought she was going somewhere better, maybe. She thought she would have more opportunities, a better salary. But when she got there, the job wasn't as brilliant as she thought or as she hoped it would be. And she missed her old job, maybe her old colleagues or something else from her previous job. Here is the last idiom that I have for you today. It is to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And this means to be born into a rich family or to be born into a high social status. For example, she doesn't know the meaning of hard work because she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. So in this case, this person was born into a rich family, and so she never really needed to work or work very hard. And so we can say she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth to mean that she was born into privilege. Those are all of the idioms that I have for you today. I hope you've learned one or two new ones. Don't forget, it is important to learn a few idioms more to be able to understand native speakers when they talk. Unfortunately, they don't always realize that a non-native speaker won't understand if they use idiomatic language. If you don't understand an idiom when somebody uses one, please don't be afraid to ask what it means. The speaker will probably be quite happy to try and explain what that idiom means. They probably don't even think about it. It just seems to fit quite naturally into the sentence that they are saying. One thing I always really love learners to tell me is if you have the equivalent of these idioms in your first language, that's always incredibly fascinating. Whether it's exactly the same or quite similar in your first language, let me know in the comments section below. Or maybe it's completely different and you say something very different to express the same meaning. So thank you very much for watching. Come back soon for a new lesson.